Running back James Cook has evolved into an easy button for the Bills offense this season, but it hasn't been an easy road. So today, I'm going to take you through that process. As is typically the case, the Bills staff has brought along the rookie very slowly, which is odd considering running back is a position of feel and rhythm. But Cook's play early on also showed that he needed to be brought along slowly. His first rushing attempt ended in a fumble, a play where he may have found daylight had he continued outside. The staff kept things simple for him. They dialed up variations of pitches and tosses from that point on. Plays like crack toss, a play where linebacker Zach Cunningham wasn't fooled. Dorsey tried dialing up a play in the passing game for Cook in the red zone in the third quarter, but Cunningham once again neutralized Cook. There had to be a growing level of frustration. Thankfully, Cook got a lot of burn in the fourth quarter thanks to the Bills being up big. Dorsey attempted to get the defense fast flowing out wide with these wide zone pitch concepts, plays where the offensive line is blocking outside zone. Cook is supposed to press the line of scrimmage out wide and find a cutback lane, but still minimal gains. Cook's first taste of success came at 6:39 in the fourth quarter when Dorsey dialed up a crack toss run. Wide receiver Isaiah McKenzie crack blocked the edge defender with tackle Deion Dawkins and fullback Reggie Gilliam leading out wide. This 33-yard gain is one of Cook's 7 rushes of 15 yards or more, and one of the play concepts that Dorsey has habitually dialed up for Cook. But this game was a great training aid for Dorsey because he got to see Cook in extended action, running a multitude of concepts. Dorsey called duo 3 times for 7 yards, one of which was a fourth down. Dorsey also dialed up inside zone and mid zone for minimal gains. In the end, Cook finished with 11 rushing attempts for 53 yards. In week 3, Cook wasn't called upon in the run game. He had 1 rush for 3 yards. But it was this game against the Dolphins where we got to see another glimpse into his role. But it once again started out rough. It was apparent that Dorsey dialed up this play specifically for Cook. Allen was under immense pressure, threw it a tad short, but Cook wasn't able to bring it in. It's too bad because he had a lot of real estate out ahead of him. Allen quickly realized that if the coverage was advantageous to the route combination involving Cook, getting it to him quickly would make Allen's life easier. On this 1st and 10 play, there are 3 defenders who could be defending tight end Quinton Morris and James Cook. On the snap, the safety drops deep, the corner stays in off coverage, and the linebacker is buzzing out wide to match Cook. Allen gets the ball to Cook quickly. Cook outleverages the linebacker and uses that momentum against him. This easy play netted the offense 8 yards. Getting the ball to Cook in space is a no-brainer, but using Cook as a checkdown or outlet is cheating. Defenses are always worried about explosive plays where Allen does whatever he can do to push the ball down the field. So they will consistently drop coverages to cap those vertical routes, especially since the Bills haven't shown a semblance of a run game. In the second half of this game, Allen realized that the Dolphins were doing exactly that, so he quickly found Cook on some easy checkdowns and option routes for a total of 37 yards. But then, another minor blip occurred in the Week 4 game against Baltimore. Cook dropped this pass and wasn't handed the ball at all. I understand that the Bills had Devin Singletary and Zach Moss, but everyone knew how big of a role Cook would have as the year progressed. Not getting him touches to acclimate to the game was asinine. I understand that works for other positions, but running back is a lot different. In Week 5, Cook got 6 snaps, 4 of which came in the run game. They tried getting Cook going with a crack toss run, but the Steelers were ready. They dropped Cook for a 1-yard loss. 2 rushing attempts later, Cook hit pay dirt on a mid-zone run, dialed up by Dorsey. Mid-zone, along with crack toss, is another concept that Cook has become extremely successful in. Cook's first read is a first defensive lineman outside the center, and then he is supposed to methodically work to the backside. Cook knows that he isn't staying frontside even before he gets the ball. You can see him already cutting it back and reading the rest of the defense. He quickly processed where the offense had leverage, and it was in the D gap on the backside of the play. Cook is quick to it and through it, and is face to face with Minkah Fitzpatrick. He accelerates back inside and leaves Fitzy in the dust. A 24-yard touchdown, and the second run of 15 yards or more for Cook so far this season, this time on a mid-zone run. But Week 8 seemed to be the week when everything started clicking for Cook. With 5:29 left in the first half, Cook broke his third run of 15 yards or more, this time on duo, more of an inside run. 15% of Cook's rushing attempts have been on duo. On this play, Cook is generally reading the Mike linebacker. Bates gets onto that backer quickly, so Cook plants and goes. But the running back has a safety sitting in the hole just waiting on him. Cook slightly cuts back inside and slips the arm tackle, then makes the other safety whiff at the third level for a 17-yard gain. Cook also got an explosive play in the passing game. It's 2nd and 14, and the Bills have an option route called for Cook from the slot. On the snap, the Packers send a creeper pressure. So Cook shows Allen his numbers, but Allen doesn't like the look because the Packers linebacker is just waiting in the shadows to intercept the ball. So Allen extended the play, and Cook kept his route alive. Cook scampered for a 41-yard gain on this play. Dorsey also introduced a new concept to Cook in this game, the pin and pull run. It's a run that Cook has only run 5 times this season, but he seems quite comfortable running it. Only one of those 5 plays didn't make it back to the line of scrimmage. It's not a play that accentuates his one-cut demeanor, but boy does it flash his quickness, working horizontally, then getting north and south. We saw Dorsey carry those pin and pull runs into the Jets game, a game where we not only got to see Cook's quickness, but some of his contact balance on this pin and pull run that gained 6 yards. But the Jets did a good job of bottling Cook up, holding him to 4 rushes for 15 yards. But Dorsey still incorporated Cook into the red zone plan. The problem on this play was that Josh was waiting for Knox to make a move, and that precious time made it difficult for Josh to hit Cook in stride. That's Josh being Josh, swinging for the fences. But the timing of these routes by running backs are crucial because leverage gain is quickly lost as the defense expands. Cook finished this game with 2 receptions for 18 yards, which is nothing to write home about. But we got to see what Cook can do for this offense when he's used as an outlet, but more importantly, when he's used as a primary option. On 3rd and 6, the Bills come out in an empty set, with the Jets showing man coverage. On the snap, wide receiver Isaiah McKenzie does a great job of creating a little interference so that the defender covering Cook has to work over the top. That's how you turn Cook into a weapon. In week 10, Cook had 5 rushing attempts for 22 yards. 16 of those 22 yards came on runs to the perimeter. On this pitch, Cook nearly broke the plane. Then later in the third quarter, back to Cook's bread and butter, the crack toss for 8 yards. If there was one game for Cook to gain confidence as a rusher, but more importantly, the staff to gain confidence in him, it was week 11 against the Browns. The Browns are one of the worst run defending teams in the NFL. The Bills finished this game with 32 rushing attempts for 183 yards and 1 touchdown. Of course, the first rush was a crack toss, but the Browns shut it down. Cook's next touch in the run game came on a dart run. On dart, the offense has a tackle pull. This is a play the Bills have dialed up for Cook 10% of his rushing attempts, mainly over the last few weeks. But on this play, they dressed it up very nicely. Dorsey used jet action with Nyheim Hines, split flow with wide receiver Khalil Shakir across the formation, and then right tackle Spencer Brown pulling and leading the play. The window dressing easily put Cook into the secondary for a 16-yard gain, his 4th run of 15 yards or more. Cook also ripped off 9 yards on this concept later in the game, but he also got his 5th run of 15 yards or more on good old crack toss. Thanks to some blocks by wide receiver Gabriel Davis and running back Nyheim Hines, Cook was able to rip off 17 yards. But it was this point in the season where Dorsey may have been inspired by Cook's 29-yard run on midzone. Because Cook has run midzone 20% of his rushes, it's the number 1 rush concept. But 10 of those 12 rushes have come in the last 3 games. So against the Patriots, Lions, and Browns. I think that is because Cook's quickness is maximized. He's been quickly processing through his reads and getting north and south. Once again, his read is the first defensive lineman outside the center. That defender penetrates upfield, so Cook cuts it back. He makes that one cut, presses the line of scrimmage, which allows the blockers to cover up their assignments. Cook then senses that the backside C gap is opening up, so he hits it for an explosive run, his 6th run of 15 yards or more. Dorsey dialed up midzone 2 more times in this game with varying levels of success, but you can just see how comfortable Cook is in this concept. Cook took a backseat to Motor once again in week 12 when it came to the run game, but he got some looks as a receiver, mainly as an outlet or check down for Allen. But it was his fourth target that frustrated me. On this play, you will see Cook curl it up just beyond the line of scrimmage. Rather than becoming QB friendly by sliding to an open passing lane, Cook stayed put while Allen thought he was going to slide to open space. Cook doesn't, and the pass is nearly intercepted. It's a minor detail, but it could have been a disaster. To make things worse, Allen targeted Cook later in the game, and Cook straight dropped the pass. Just a rough stretch for Cook. The Patriots game was the culmination of the Bills' shift in philosophy. I don't know if it's here to stay, but from the Browns game on, the Bills are only passing 54.6% of the time and running 39.9% of the time, as opposed to 64.1% passing and only 28.8% rushing over the first 10 weeks. That's a dramatic increase in rushing, not enough to be considered a run first team, but just enough to add balance to the offense, enough to keep the defense from just teeing off on Allen. Check out this stat that my man Ryan Sullivan found. In the first 10 weeks, Bills running backs were 31st in expected points added per attempt. Over the last 3 games, they are ranked 6th. So the commitment to running the ball a little more has helped the line gain some traction, but also has gotten the running backs in rhythm. The Week 13 matchup against the Pats was also the culmination of all the experiences that Cook had under his belt thus far, and fans got to see all of them in one game. Allen wasted little to no time in the passing game when he didn't recognize the coverage. Rather than trying to wait routes out and let the coverage unfold, he quickly found Cook. Remember that play from the Lions game where Cook wasn't exactly QB friendly? Look at him bounce back from that. He slides with his quarterback, stays in his line of sight, and Allen finds him for a 14-yard gain. Anytime he saw a Tampa 2 coverage, his eyes immediately went to his checkdown, because he knew that the running back would get a chunk of yardage. On Cook's third rushing attempt, Dorsey went back to the well by calling mid-zone. Hines is the eye candy on this play, and the read and cut by Cook was once again easy. Cook cut it back, pressed the line of scrimmage with good timing, which allowed the feed blocks by Ryan Bates and Tommy Sweeney to create horizontal displacement. But more importantly, the pace allowed Sweeney to peel off to pick up Kyle Duggar. And it was that block that put Cook into the secondary. That 28-yard gain was Cook's 7th rush of 15 yards or more. Those are the sort of plays that have Cook sitting third in PFF's breakaway percentage behind Rashad Penny and Kenneth Walker, and right ahead of Tony Pollard. The Bills dialed up mid-zone 35% of Cook's rushing attempts in this game, and as expected, some were successful and some weren't. But the best part of the Bills' commitment to the run game over the last 3 games is that the offensive line and backs are getting on the same page. That's because they are now working on a short list of run concepts they are hanging their hats on. The top 3 rushing concepts for Cook seem to be mid-zone, which he has run 20% of his rushing attempts, followed by crack toss, which Dorsey has called 17% of his touches, and finally, duo, which Cook has run 15% of the time. Dorsey is sprinkling in dart and inside zone over the last few weeks with some success. Among the 7 rushes of 15 yards or more, the concept breakdown are as follows. 3 of those explosive runs have come on mid-zone. 2 have come on crack toss calls, 1 on dart, and 1 on duo. The Bills now know where Cook's comfort zone is in the rushing game and how he's an easy button in the passing game on checkdowns if Allen gets it to him quickly. Allen can use Cook's checkdown routes as an extension of the run game when the coverage is murky or when the secondary is dropping into those deep Tampa 2 coverages. The picture has become clear. Cook's role in this offense is taking shape. The evolution of his role was not an easy road for the player or coordinator, but now is the time for Allen and Dorsey to use their easy button more frequently.